Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Hey, I'm Jay Washington.
That's right, this is Jay Washington, and we are here to review Black Lightning Episode 2, Lawanda, the Book of Hope. And if you haven't seen this episode, you might want to come back later because there will be spoilers.
A glimmer of hope appears in the community that Black Lightning is back to combat the violence.
All right, so we're going to work our way through the episode, and of course, we got right here, I think, Black Lightning's biggest fan, Jay Washington, right now.
Like, number 2 at least.
Yeah.
At least.
Okay, so this episode starts off with Jefferson Pierce being sore, having to deal with lightning powers, and basically finding out that he's too old for this shit. And,
he was Danny Glover in this episode.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed that because that's something we really don't see on Arrow, because Arrow should be sore all the time. Jay, what did you think about, is this proving that Jefferson is a little bit older than all the other heroes that we have in the CW network?
It proves definitely he's older, number one. It also proves he's still human, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. He feels pain. It also proves that he's too old for this shit. Because like you said, with other shows, whereas namely Arrow, Oliver Queen should be every day just light up.
Yeah.
He should have no cartilage in his knees.
He should be like
limping.
He should be like when we saw Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Rises, when he went and got the X-ray. But to see that and to see that his powers are like, it's flickering. Like he's getting older and his stuff is flickering. It's like, okay, so we've seen time take its toll on him, and so I definitely like that because it kept it. As I kept telling you guys, it kept it grounded per se. I mean, we know it's a superhero, but it's like, this superhero's like, okay.
There's also a little interesting idea that it seems like they're introducing this idea that every time he uses his lightning powers, that maybe the night after or the day after, he has to deal with like that sort of a muscle too. That like that the
he's
lightning
recharging the battery.
He's recharging.
Yeah, that's probably exactly right. Yeah.
That's what I thought, because the effect is actually, I think it's a recolored Vampire Diaries effect, because when they use the bloodlust, they get these like black lines, and they're doing like the blue lines through his body, which I thought was really cool. And because it was rushing to the core, I thought that it was him trying to like power back up. Maybe.
That's what I thought he was using his lightning to recharge himself too.
Right,
that's what it looked. I agree with. That's what it looked like.
We get some great casting in this episode as well. We have Lawanda White, who I thought was a fantastic actress in this episode. Her girl is still out there, and we have this giant school assembly. Not only one proving that Jefferson Pierce is the best principal, I think, of any fictional high school ever, but Black Lightning only rescued Jefferson's girls, and that there's plenty of other girls and trapped women at this hotel. Now, I want to bring this to the whole panel here. When she brought up that point, my first thought was, doesn't this bring the connection that Jefferson Pierce and Black Lightning is a little bit closer to each other because Black Lightning came out of retirement to rescue Jefferson's girls? Right. And then also she had to use the quote, which I thought was amazing, unless we're all free, none of us are free. So what do we think about this scene with the high school assembly?
I really appreciate that we're using the high school base to bring the community together. Like, it's not just, like, it's about the children, but it's not just about the children. I was waiting for someone to turn around and be like, are you Black Lightning?
I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm so glad.
Well, it's a little bit that is suspending of disbelief because it is a superhero show, and we can't out him like 48 hours after he had first appeared on the show.
I'm Black Lightning. What?
But
How dare you?
I did appreciate that it was addressed, because this is a show that takes more chances, addresses more real-world issues, even in and around the idea that this is a superhero show. And if this, I guess spoilers a little bit, this is his kick that's going to help bring Black Lightning back into the community. I really appreciated this scene. And Lawanda White is maybe one of the greatest characters that we've seen on the show so far.
Yeah.
It always takes a show that's centered in like black communities that are somewhat impoverished, but not really, because Freeland is supposed to be the ghetto, but we don't see it as that in what the show is. But it always has that scene where there's that one powerful moment where a mother or father speaks out on what's going on to their children, and it connects and it resonates with everybody. And that's what happened, because it made Jefferson Pierce have to look like, I could have did everybody else instead of just my daughters. And he had to pull himself back, because he even had to say, I don't know why he did that.
Yeah.
Because he had to think about that for a second. And the visual, like you said, of the high school gymnasium alone, it's like a community center. I mean, if I can just connect it to one quick thing, if you remember the movie Meteor Man.
Yes, I do. I like that movie.
Remember how the community center was where everybody
Bill Cosby can't even ruin that movie still.
Oh, Oh.
And I just watched it like 7 days ago, and I just still want to say I still want to see Don Cheadle's Goldilocks in person. But it's those you have that epicenter.
Yeah.
The school as a whole is that epicenter of everything because, like you said, it's not just the kids; it's the community. So when it's the kids, the parents are involved, and the uncles and aunts and nieces and nephews and cousins and things of the sort. So.
Yeah. Now, Jay, I want to ask you, the next scene is about Tobias Whale. And Tobias Whale really giving it to Lala. And specifically saying this line, Lala says to him, "Damn, you must hate black people." And then Tobias justifies it with, "Well, let's not act like newly freed slaves." How did that scene hit you? Do you feel like that these were true statements, or like, oh damn?
Well, when we watched it, you seemed very affected by that statement.
Yeah.
Because I liked it because again that goes back to the writing. Shouts out to Salim Akil on that because you know that's the actual dialogue to be had.
Yeah.
There's even when Kanye made the song New Slaves, it's talking about how rappers and certain entertainers try to be all flashy and stuff like that, and you're held down and constricted by what you think these materialistic things are. Excuse me. And so for him to say that like you acting like a dog off a leash and things like that, you're not acting controlled. So yeah, and then when he said, he was like, "No, I'm not talking about all, just you all."
Yeah.
You know, it was no, don't. He was like, "Don't get me confused. No, not all, just you all, the way you're acting." Meaning the 100.
Yeah.
You know, meaning the 100, the way they're acting, Lala specifically. And so it hit me because I was like, yes, you had to put it out there because you can't glance over it with all the other undertones you give in this show.
Yeah.
So you have to hit it on the head. You got to stick it for where it is. Because if not, you're doing the show a disjustice and a disservice to the crowd.
I was also going to say that I think it's a nice mirror to the way Jefferson is demanding that his daughters act. Because he's demanding that his daughters and his students are well-educated members of the community, good people, and he's buttoned up in the same way that Tobias Whale is buttoned up. Like, he's trying to do everything that he does well and well executed and well thought.
Yes.
He doesn't want the people that he's trying to guide or who work underneath him to be sloppy.
No, not at all. He wants you like you said, you have Jefferson Pierce who, look, I was a student here, I was a teacher here, I'm now the principal. I've watched the youth grow up. Some have become productive members, others have gone astray. Tobias we don't know his full backstory as of yet. But we know right now, even though he's the head of a crime syndicate, he's a professional man. He keeps himself in a professional manner. He's not that head of a gang that's just wild and reckless. He keeps himself in a professional manner. So again, it's those two sides of the coin, but they both meet.
Yeah. Now, that's the thing I really like about this show, especially there's a scene later on where everyone, Lawanda says, everyone in Freeland knows Jefferson Pierce. You are black Jesus in this community.
The second time that we've heard that phrase specifically.
She says, you can go anywhere in Freeland, you can do anything in Freeland, and you can save my girl. You specifically. Now, there was a quick moment where I thought she was going to be like, you can save my girl, Black Lightning, but she didn't say that. I think this is such a powerful idea in this show that Jefferson Pierce has a bigger persona than Black Lightning, the vigilante hero. And I think that this gives this show so much of an interesting, a more varied and interesting tone that some of the other CW superhero shows don't have.
I agree, because that's a realization that characters have to come to over seasons and seasons. How long did it take Oliver Queen to decide?
I was just about to bring that up.
That being mayor is a more powerful thing. How long did it take Barry Allen to realize that him as a CSI could be more powerful? And this is something that we're starting at episode 2 we're addressing.
Well, and you took the words right out of my literally, because it was like Oliver Queen had to finally decide to run for mayor to realize, oh, I can do more helpful here than putting on a hood. Jefferson Pierce, again, having been a student, having been a teacher, having been in this community all this time, to see how the community has gone through this turmoil. Again, when he stopped being Black Lightning, as we saw in episode 1, from now it's been about 15 years off to like 10 to 15 years close to. And the community was still in turmoil. And so he's watched that, and so he realizes what the 100 is doing to the community. I'm going to try to offset that by being a better positive role model. I could do it as Black Lightning, but that only is going to do so much. Where do I need it? Hit it at the ground level. Education. Let me set this foundation. And that's what she means. You're like Black Jesus. We respect you. We know what you're doing in this community. You're trying to help the community. You're not trying to say, well, I'm better than y'all, just be like me. No, be better than me. So.
And that leads into this very interesting confrontation between two amazing actors we have, where Jefferson, by the way, pulls up in his station wagon to confront Lala. That's such a
Dad
dad car.
move.
Such a dad car.
Because you would expect to see, oh, he gonna have a BMW, a Benz, or some type of high luxury vehicle. No, he pulls up in a station wagon. I'm like,
it's like he's ready to go camping after or something.
And then he gets like such the dad line when he confronts Lala, and Lala's like, "Look, I'm trying to be, I'm trying to be respectful of you, Mr. Pierce." And he's like, "Don't mistake my patience for weakness."
That is a
boy.
That is a father line. As a man who has 2 children, a 14-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter, if you mess with my kids, I don't care how old you are, you're going to hear that. So people can think, because some people will probably think, oh, that was a cheesy line. Not if you got kids, and not if you've been around older people who don't take kindly to younger people, so they're junior talking to them any type of way. And so that wasn't a superhero threat. That was a older black man threat. Take my kindness for a weekend,
I thought Cress Williams, I thought that was a very powerful, and I was threatened by that line.
That's a moment that's gonna be a GIF by the end of the week for sure. It's gonna be cropped out and
don't mistake my patience for weakness, boy.
Yes, absolutely. And I look forward to seeing it all over the internet.
All right, let's talk about Anissa and her girlfriend, maybe lover.
Oh, I have so many thoughts.
This scene was pretty steamy, I thought, for a CW show. Also,
man, it was more steamy than anything we'd seen before.
On the city step aside.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Sarah and her relationships, Alex and Maggie, it beat those. Literally.
I want to talk about this, Ashley, especially with you. Now, most CW shows, they beat around the bush with their lesbian, gay relationships. Black Lightning, again, not afraid to do anything. Episode 2, out the gate, we get a very steamy lesbian scene. How did you think about this?
I thought it was awesome. Shout out to Nafessa Williams. She's maybe my favorite thing about the show. Playing Anissa, I think she's amazing. I love your Instagram. Please be my friend in real life. I would love that. I appreciate this scene and just come and be all of our friends.
You can follow me too.
I appreciate it because it doesn't shy away the way some other CW shows do shy away from this type of material. It's like, this is a sexy scene. These are beautiful women. This is what we're doing. And then what I love about it even more is the context that it's addressed in, because there's a scene directly after this where Henderson goes to Jefferson Pierce's house and he's like, "Oh, how's your family doing?" And he's like, "Oh, Anissa's at her girlfriend." Like, it's not a coming out arc. It's an established relationship. The family knows, and everyone's cool with it. No one has to like grow up and learn that it's okay to be a lesbian. This is just the fact of her life. And I really appreciated the way that it was executed. It was very well performed, and it was fun to watch. It was great.
It was well done, and the fact that it was steamy, but it was also serious because they had to have this serious heart-to-heart talk about different things. Her girlfriend, we don't know if that's the case. She wants more.
Yeah. Well, they said they've been dating for a year.
Oh, they said that? I didn't catch that.
Because she says, Anissa, we've been going out for a year and you've never met my parents. I need more of a commitment.
See?
So if they're not girlfriends, like, they're
bang buddies.
Yeah.
Bang buddies. But you have that, and then you have her dealing, because we're learning different parts of Anissa throughout just 2 episodes. She's a diehard activist. She's a teacher in the school.
She's a medical student.
She's a medical student. She has a relationship, and now she's developing abilities, because we found that out at the end of episode 1.
Yep.
So she's such a complex character in itself.
It makes her feel real.
Yeah.
The only thing that I thought was sort of silly about this was she tells her girlfriend, lady friend about breaking the sink, and at no point does she go, "Yeah, right. It's hard to break a porcelain sink."
I like that turn in the writing though, because to Anissa's mind, she was like, "I had a weird panic attack."
Yeah,
and I appreciated that, because when you do have panic attacks, you can do things that are outside your normal nature.
That's fair. That's another superhero sort of leap of.
I actually thought that was a smart piece of writing.
Because the way her girlfriend, her friend was like, "Well, I'll get you to see a new therapist," because it was like, and also that's another thing, addressing mental health. Because I will say this, in the black community, it's very taboo, it's very much a stigma about addressing mental health, seeing a therapist. She was like, "My mom has seen them all."
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's something, she thinks it could be something mental, but the fact that she was open to doing it, because there could have been a part right after that, and this was like, "I'm not seeing no therapist. I'm not seeing a shrink." But she was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that part.
Let's talk about the flip to that scene. We get an amazing scene between Jennifer and her boyfriend. Did we ever figure out the boyfriend's name?
It's not on IMDb, so
okay,
shout out to your database.
The boyfriend comes out onto the roof, does a nice Third Rock from the Sun homage, which I like. You remember those scenes on the roof, Third Rock from the Sun? And he says...
I like the fact
yeah.
That show was Aliens, so you should watch
that
it.
show's about aliens. If you like Lightning, go for it. They're so alike. So the boyfriend's like, you saw Black Lightning, and then she gives a nice little explanation for why she didn't immediately know that Black Lightning was her dad. She said it was like looking into a spotlight, so she couldn't basically see him. But then this boyfriend is such a good dude that he asks this girl out in such the nicest, kindest way that I even said yes to him.
Yeah, so I just want you to know, my man, we haven't found out your name yet, but you are in a 4-way relationship because you are now in a relationship with Jennifer Pierce, Jason Inman, and Jay Washington. Because he was like, would you like to be my girl? Mm-hmm. And that's just old school things you don't hear anymore. It's just like now it's assumed we're together. Mm-hmm. You know, we're together. But it was like, yo, would you like to be my girl? And then it was just them on the roof, and they engaged at the little kiss. Wasn't no pressure for sex. No. It was like, let's just chill.
Yeah. Mom's downstairs. He didn't try to force the issue. He was just a good dude.
He was a gentleman.
I think that's something, too, that we don't get represented enough in media that's maybe not necessarily aimed for teenagers. Like, teenage boys are often portrayed as being massive dicks, and it's...
just horny as all hell for no reason.
Sorry. Yep. Yeah, and it was nice to be like, oh, no, like, look, a 16-year-old young man can just be that, an upstanding young man who's a good person with a conscience. What a concept.
All right, now we got to talk about the thing that I think probably punched everybody in the gut when they saw that. Now, Lawanda shows up to the motel. She confronts Lala, but smartly, because she's a smart character, she leaves the phone behind to record all her actions, and then Lala just guns her down. Now, here's I didn't realize this till later thinking about this. Lala guns her down, and where do all of his bullets land? On the image of the daughter that he has in bondage. Yeah. I was like, ooh, there is a double hit of meaning there.
Well, and we all literally screamed when it happened.
Did you either of you see this coming? Like, holy cow.
No.
I thought we would have probably gotten, for lack of better words, him slapping her or hitting her with the gun or one of them. I did not think that immediately he would pull out and draw, but at the same time, I shouldn't have been surprised because, again, I tell everybody this all the time. I'm from the South Side of Chicago where it gets real. That has happened before. I have heard about it and seen it. So that was a bit of realism right there. The fact that she was going up with her own camera, not even just a cell phone camera she left in the car. She had a video camera, was like, I got you on tape. Where's my daughters and blah, 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 blah. And Lala had a couple members of the 100, and he was like, yo, get out my face, get out my face. And then she touched where he got harpooned.
Yeah.
Which, again, is the greatest thing ever to see in the show.
The harpoon was a great movie.
I'll tell you something. I'm a fan of bows and arrows, okay? I like swords. I like guns.
Old school weaponry is your thing.
Yo, harpooning somebody? Start doing that in the streets, ladies and gentlemen. Go to your nearest pawn shop.
Let's start some Mariner Wars on the streets.
No, you ain't got to be Mariner Awards. Listen, Mariner Wars. Just start going to your local pawn shop. Hey, man, look, I'm looking for a harpoon. What you need a harpoon for? Look, man, I got some business I got to take care of. You going fishing? Sort of. Like, just get a harpoon. But when would you last time you seen somebody get harpoon? Like, but the fact she pressed there and then his natural reaction was just turn around and just start shooting.
Yeah.
And didn't even really have any remorse behind it.
No. He was business.
He was like, whatever, let's go. Because he took the camera that she had thinking that was the end of it. And then as the camera pans back, it shows us her cell phone camera is recording everything, and then it falls when they're putting her body in the car. Which, by the way, it shows how oblivious gang members can be and how stupid. Because somebody had to see that phone fall. It just was like, I ain't going to deal with this. Probably.
Well, you think about even it's night, lit up screen, that would create a light source.
This is very...
But also, this is the second really clever use of a cell phone in the show. In the pilot episode, we see Jennifer and Anissa are trying to film the cop who's pulled over Jefferson. And that is very much like the language of activism right now. And I really appreciate the inclusion of that. It feels very modern to me. It feels very of the time. It feels very aware of movements like Me Too and Black Lives matters, and some of the horrible things that we've seen streamed live on Facebook.
I recorded a boss telling us one day at a job that if we didn't take this certain shift, we'd all be technically laid off. And I was like, cool. So I didn't take the shift she was given. I got laid off. And they was like, you probably won't be able to file an employment. I was like, yes, I can. They was like, how? I was like, I got everything she said on tape.
Man.
The HR was like, you do? I was like, I'll send it to you. Don't worry.
Speaking of stuff that we're really glad that's on tape, let's talk about Cress Williams' speech where he's talking to Lynn, and he talks about, this is basically the scene where he realizes that him being a principal is not enough. He's like, he says a line, I had a fantasy that when they leave me, their lives will be better. That is untrue. And the whole thing talk about when they found out about his powers, his wife thought it was cool, his wife thought it was a gift, and he's like, these powers are a blessing of God. It's a blessing of God for me to change things. No more maybes from me. We all had a reaction to this scene, and to me, and we kind of powwowed about this a little bit. We were like, just give the Emmy straight to Cress right now. Just give it to him. Yeah.
The fact that Cress Williams as Jefferson Pierce, he was so powerful delivering it, and Len, who just received it, the face she had, it was an action without words. And again, I think this show is going to be predicated on a lot of powerful messages being spoken, but not being preachy. There's so many other shows where there is a message, but it gets preachy and it beats you over the head with it and beats you over the head with it. And you're like, okay, we get it. But the way we're 2 episodes in, so I don't know, but I'm confident the way we're getting these messages is going to be ones that hit you, they'll resonate with you, and they won't be like, oh, I didn't expect that. You won't be like, I didn't expect that. And you get it.
Yes.
But this is not a scene that we expect in a first season of a CW superhero show.
No.
And I think a lot of that speaks to the showrunners and everyone working on the show, but I also think it speaks to the mature cast. No one is here trying to figure out what they're doing. These 2 actors know exactly what they're doing and who these characters are, and that's why this scene in the second episode is as moving and as powerful, and because it is truth. It's cool to hear people talk about Krypton. It's cool to hear people talk about the Speed Force. This is, what they're talking about is stuff that, actually matters.
Yeah. All right, let's move through, get to the end of the episode here. The boyfriend again proves that he's a good dude by stopping Jennifer from drinking.
Don't drink in school.
Yeah, and then they give him a little bit of the Jefferson Pierce comic book storyline that Jefferson Pierce, of course, ran the triathlon, decathlon in the Olympics. They seems to be giving it to this character. Black Lightning walking the street like the baddest mother effer around.
Shout out to the doorman.
The doorman. Black Lightning, my man. Here, you want me
to...
My
man.
Yeah.
Go on in.
Yeah, I felt a little bit of... I was like, man, Luke Cage could have used more of this. Like, this was a nice little moment. And then the fight was great. And then Henderson coming in, him parkouring over the edge. What do we think about this end Black Lightning fight?
I'll let you go first.
Oh, I loved it. I was going to say, as our biggest Arrow fan, I would love to know what you think about seeing some of that translated into Black Lightning.
I loved it. I was, everybody knows I'm a diehard Arrow fan, but to watch the way this played out, because again, Black Lightning was a symbol on the streets, so he doesn't have to really appear in the shadows. The fact that he was watching, and if you
walking
saw
down the middle of the street,
and if you saw in the background, there were people who took their cell phones out. And so the doorman is like, Black Lightning, my man. Because he's glad to have him back. And it was like, what starts fighting, where's Lala? Penthouse? With no problem. With no problem. Penthouse. And to have Henderson see him, and again, we don't see the spotlight real quick, but assuming that's what happened.
Yeah.
Well, Henderson can't see who it is.
Henderson can't see who it is. So, but Jefferson's like, damn it, here we go again. Because remember, first episode, Henderson's been chasing him. He's been chasing Black Lightning. And so we even found out in this episode, if we go back earlier, when they were in the school in the hallways walking, and he found out Will had got out, he was like, how did he survive a 2-story fall?
Yep. How did you know that?
He was like, how did you know that? He was like, my daughter's told me. And
not the worst cover, not a great one,
not a great cover.
Not the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, for what it was worth at that moment, it worked.
Well, I think this definitely confirms, because in episode 1, there was a little bit of nebulousness, because does Henderson know, and is he hiding it like Commissioner Gordon? Because I'm of the believer that Commissioner Gordon knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he keeps it secret for the good of the community. I think this episode confirmed Henderson has no idea.
He has zero clue.
Yeah.
I mean, but I guess, how do you not? This is one of those ones I'm like, how do you not? Because
they want to have that reveal in an episode.
The timing is too coincidental.
Yeah, the timing is too coincidental. And it's like also that luckily the suit gives him a bigger build.
Yep.
That is one thing that helps out because we talked about this. Cress Williams, by no stretch, is a small man.
No.
You know, he's a fit dude, very tall. But the suit makes him very tall, but bigger. And so it actually looks like, too, the suit gives him a couple more inches in height.
Yep.
So I guess that's how you can...
Well, and also it's the idea that maybe, this is the explanation I can give for the Dayglow lightning bolts, is that maybe that's part of the spotlight, that helps it make it so bright. So when you look at Black Lightning, you're looking like right into an LED light.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can't really see his features.
Face.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about Anissa. Increases her density powers, as her powers in the comic book. She throws a dude in a CVS, which is cool. And then let's talk about Tobias walking into the police station, because there's always a corrupt cop in every superhero universe. And he looks like he has super strength because he lifts Lala and strangles him. And he says, "We don't kill moms and children." Now, you said a very interesting thing. You talked about a code as we were watching this episode. Would you please explain to our viewers the code you were talking about?
So again, I always preface this. Being from the South Side of Chicago, a lot of gang life. Again, you'll find out. Check me in the Spike Lee joint Chirac. But, quick plug. But there is a gang code. I mean, there used to be one die-hard one. It's gone by the wayside. It was always, you never kill children and you never kill innocent mothers. Innocent mothers are mothers who just want action. You don't hurt them. You don't intentionally harm them. And when you do, the police don't have to deal with you. The gang deals with you themselves. And so we got a nod to that in that final scene. And it also is a callback to what Tobias said earlier. I'm talking about you new free slave acting dudes. So he was already upset with them.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you're willing to do that, there's nothing you won't do, include becoming a rat.
Including rat, yep.
It's crazy, though, how many people in the Freeland PD are corrupt, because he just... Again, kind of like when Black Lightning shows up to get Lala, he's just escorted right inside.
Yep.
Because he pays him all the money.
Yeah.
He pays him all the money. I'm really intrigued, especially going forward, to learn, because you get the impression that Tobias Whale has disappeared the same way Black Lightning has disappeared for these 9 years. But he really didn't disappear. He sort of has become this secret kingpin. And I'm really interested, and I think this might be the crux of the season going forward, is Jefferson finding out how much... Tobias's roots have gone out into the community. How much of this community Tobias actually controls
while thinking he was dead. Because each thinks the other is dead.
Yep.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Each thinks the other, because Tobias is under the impression this is just a copycat.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that he killed. He probably thinks he harpooned him.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. All right, let's move straight into the rating of this episode based on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best. Let's start with our guest. Jay, what would you give episode 2 of Black Lightning?
From what I saw, everything, honestly, the storylines, the development, the character arcs, I have to give it a 5. It was a solid episode beginning to end. It never let you go. It held you, and it had those moments, various moments where you just popped up and you kept engaged. And also, its ending alone kept you ready for the next episode. And so that's what I love. It's not one of those villain of the week, so you're like, all right, here we go. What do we got to get through?
Yeah.
It was consistently engaging. It was consistently just having you locked into it. So I give it a 5.
Ashley, how about you?
It's tough because we gave the pilot a 5, and I think this was better than the pilot. I think this
You're
is
gonna
one
give
of
this a 6 out of 5?
A 6 out of 5. I think this is one of the bravest shows on television, and I'm dying to see where the rest of the season is going. So yeah, 6 out of 5. Screw it.
I totally agree with you. This now it sort of had a similar pattern to the pilot episode where a lot of it was dealing
Wait,
through...
in a superhero show?
Yeah.
You mean there's a pattern?
But building to the Black Lightning coming out, of course. But you know what? I still loved it. You were right. It was engaging. Cress Williams is still giving amazing performances. And to be honest with you, I never thought I was going to care about Tobias Whale as much as I do, or be threatened by him as much as they do.
Dude!
Because he's such a stupid villain in the comic books. And
He's a literal whale.
They're doing a great job with him. I have to give this a 5 out of 5 as well. God, I'm really starting to wonder, are we going to get a 5 out of 5 all the way through Black Lightning Season 1?
Again, we got to give shouts out to, again, Mara Brock-Akil, Salim Akil, who's written most of the episodes, Greg Berlanti, who took the chance out with this character, and again, the CW, who at first was like, look, you got 4 on the show, this network. We're done with superheroes. They went and pitched it elsewhere. Elsewhere was like, no. And the CW was like, for real?
Yeah.
Let's go and get that.
All right, so real quick, we always love to do predictions going forward. Now, Jay, I would love to hear your thoughts based on this episode, what we saw in this episode. Do you have any predictions for where you think this season is going?
I think Lynn, his ex-wife, is going to resent him, but also have to accept that he's coming to terms as Black Lightning.
Okay.
I think it's going to hurt her when she realizes Anissa has the abilities right now. Because Anissa's going to tell somebody and something's going to happen. And she's going to be like, I thought something could be. I think the whole Tobias incident, we only got 13 episodes, so I'm giving it maybe 6 or 7 before we finally realize the two know that it's the same person. Like, Tobias knows it's Black Lightning, Black Lightning knows it's Tobias. I also think Henderson will be caught in the middle, where it's going to come to a point where he's going to know who Black Lightning is, and he has to hold back from trying to arrest him.
Sort of a Tommy Merlin season 1 situation.
Because remember, he's a cop. Black Lightning is a vigilante.
Yep.
There is no, I'm really cool with the police in this case. There is no like Oliver Queen and the Star City PD and whatnot. So Henderson will have to try to arrest his friend, but it's always going to just like bite him on, so it's going to hold him back.
Ashley, how about you?
I am sad to say I think Anissa's girlfriend, who we met in this episode, is going to die or probably be swiped out of the picture, because we do know that another love interest is being introduced for her. And I think the only reason you would establish a character that has this long of a history with her is to use her narratively against Anissa, probably as she's coming into her own as Thunder, and that makes me sad.
My prediction for the future of Black Lightning is I think the first person that Anissa's going to tell about her powers in their family is Gamby. And I think that they are going to create a sort of grandfather-granddaughter relationship because, and then that is going to be, you're going to get a little bit of a situation similar to Invincible in the comic books where she is going to have her costume, Gamby's going to make it for her, and then I think the reveal of how Jefferson finds out about his daughter is they meet on the streets in costume.
Oh, I would love that.
Well, if you've seen the pictures of Nefessa Williams as in her Thunder costume.
It's going to take till episode 5 max before she does that.
Because Gamby has to keep giving him upgrades to the suit and different things. So
yeah, I think that's exactly. I think Grandpa's going to help granddaughter out.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And that's how she finds out about Black Lightning as well.
Nice.
So go down in the comments, tell us what you thought about the episode, and then click subscribe. And Jay, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. That's MrJaywashington. Find me on Facebook, Jay Washington Comedy.
Nice. And for more exclusive geeky content, click on one of the videos that's popping up on the screen.
See you next week for more Black Lightning.